Hi there, this is Teri from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a shutter card. I used the Beauty Abounds stamp set with the coordinating butterfly beauty thinlits dies, as well as the tufted embossing folder and paper from the Nature's Poem pack. The sentiment and the butterfly embellishments on this card, with the exception of this little butterfly, are made up of 4 separate layers, and this gives them each their own dimension. On the reverse, I've added a panel where you can write your message. And this is what the Beauty Abounds stamp set looks like. I'm going to use this floral flourish and a couple of the butterflies. The card will also fit in one of our standard size envelopes. Even though it's quite a bulky card, it still fits in there nicely. So let's get started. I'm starting with a piece of soft suede cardstock that measures 12 inches by 5 13/16 of an inch, or 14.8 centimeters. Now I'm using my Simply Scored board, so I'm going to score this in inches, and that's at 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches. I'm going to place this inside my trimmer with the short side at the top. Now you have 4 horizontal score lines, and I'm going to cut between the first and the last. So I'm putting it into my trimmer, and I'm going to line up the left edge at 4 centimeters, which is 1 9/16 of an inch, and then I'm going to cut between the first and the last score lines only. Then I want to do the same again for the other side, so I'm going to turn my cardstock around and again line that left edge up at 4 centimeters, which is 1 9/16 of an inch, and cut between those 2 score lines, so the first and the last score line. I want to cut each of the side panels in one piece. Okay, so I'm going to start with my cardstock layer, and this measures 9.6 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters, or 3 3/4 inches by 5 11/16 of an inch. My pattern paper layer measures 9.2 centimeters by 14 centimeters, or 3 5/8 of an inch by 5.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to start by cutting the mint macaron layer, and I'm adding it to my trimmer with the short side across the top, and I'm lining up that left hand edge at 4.6 centimeters, which is 1 13/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut down 4 centimeters, which is 1 9/16 of an inch. Then I'm going to rotate my cardstock anti-clockwise, line the left hand edge up at 4 centimeters, and cut down until I meet that first cut line. So you're removing a little rectangular piece. Okay, and this is what we've got so far. Now I want to repeat that on the other side. So I've flipped my cardstock over. I'm lining it up again at 4.6 centimeters, which is 1 13/16 of an inch, and I'm cutting down 4 centimeters, which is 1 9/16 of an inch. Then I'm rotating my cardstock anti-clockwise, lining up the left hand edge at 4 centimeters, or 1 9/16 of an inch, and cutting from the top until I meet that first cut line, and then that's my piece complete. Now I'm going to repeat everything for the second piece. I'm lining up my left hand edge at 4.6 centimeters and cutting down 4 centimeters. Rotating my cardstock and lining up that left hand edge at 4 centimeters and cutting down to meet the first cut line, and that removes the rectangle. Then I'm going to flip my cardstock over, line it up again at 4.6 centimeters and cut down 4 centimeters. Rotate my cardstock, lining up that left hand edge at 4 centimeters and then cut down to meet the cut line I did previously. And that's the two sides complete. Now, because the designer series paper is thinner, I can cut both panels together. First of all, you want to decide which way up you want the design to go. Once you've decided, just put your paper back to back, like so. Now this time I'm going to place my left hand edge at 4.2 centimeters, which is 1 11/16 of an inch, and cut down 4 centimeters, 1 9/16 of an inch. Rotate your paper, line it up at 4 centimeters or 1 9/16 of an inch, and then cut down to meet the first cut line. Then I'm going to repeat that for the opposite side. So I'm lining up my edge at 4.2 centimeters, 1 11/16, cutting down 4 centimeters, rotating my paper and lining up the edge at 4 centimeters again, which is 1 9/16 of an inch, and cutting down to meet the first cut line. And that's my two pieces complete. You can then go ahead and layer these 4 pieces together. You should have an equal border of mint macaron card showing all around your paper. Now, the small rectangles that you cut away, we're going to use those to fill in the other areas of the shutter card. Now these need to all be cut down to size. The mint macaron card needs to measure 4.6 centimeters by 3.6 centimeters, or 1 13/16 of an inch by 1 3/8 of an inch. The paper should measure 4.2 centimeters by 3.2 centimeters, or 1 11/16 of an inch by 1 1/4 inches, and then you can go ahead and layer these together. Your card will have 3 sections going across, and you want to fold these in a series of mountain and valley folds to get the shutter card to work properly. Now the top and the bottom section, on the first score line you want to make a mountain fold, the second is a valley fold, the third another mountain fold, and lastly a valley fold. Now on the middle section you want to ignore the first score line and make a mountain fold of the second and a valley fold of the third, and then again ignore the last score line. Ensure your card folds in correctly and that it looks square, and then you can burnish everything with a bone folder. You can then go ahead and glue all these pieces to your card. And now for the middle sections of the card. Now I've got my top and bottom piece here I've already stamped and coloured. This measures 9.2 centimetres by 3.2 centimetres, which is 3 5/8 of an inch by 1 1/4 inches. Now I coloured this using the Stampin' Blends markers. I use mint macaron, lovely lipstick, mango melody for the centre of the flowers, and then I went round the complete image using the light balmy blue. I use Memento Tuxedo Black ink for the actual stamping. Both these panels were then embossed using the tufted embossing folder. Now these are going to be layered onto mint macaron, and the size you need for this is 9.6 centimetres by 3.6 centimetres, or 3 3/4 inches by 1 3/8 of an inch. Finally, we just need to cover the centre sections. Now the front and back panels for this are the same size. The white panel measures 9.2 centimetres by 6 centimetres, which is 3 5/8 of an inch by 2 3/8 of an inch. And you want to emboss one of these with the tufted embossing folder. Now the mint layer measures 9.6 centimetres by 6.4 centimetres, which is 3 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/2 inches. So the embossed panel will go on the front of the card and the other panel will go on the back, ready for your message. Now I'm going to just decorate this with a couple of butterflies. Now I've die cut mine and I'm going to stick them into position, but you could stamp them directly onto this panel and colour them if you'd prefer to do that. I have some scrap white and mint macaron card, and I'm using the second largest plain oval for the white and running that through with the tufted folder again, and then I'm using the largest scalloped oval for the mint. I'm using lovely lipstick card for the sentiment, and I've just got a 1/4 sheet here that I've backed with some of our multi-purpose adhesive sheets, and I'm going to use the Happy Birthday from the Well Written framelit set, and I'm going to cut out 4 of these. For all the butterflies on the card, I have another 1/4 sheet of lovely lipstick, and then I have 3 1/4 sheets of mint macaron. Now the lovely lipstick and 2 of the mint pieces are backed with the multi-purpose adhesive sheet, but I haven't backed the third one. The reason I did this is because the butterfly goes over the front panel slightly and I didn't want it to be sticky underneath, so I'll just glue that to the card rather than use the multi-purpose adhesive sheet. I'm going to use the coordinating framelets, which are the Butterfly Beauty dies, and I'm going to cut 1 top layer from the lovely lipstick, and then the mint ones are going to be the bottom layer, so I'll cut 3 of those, 1 from each piece. Stacking the layers together is very straightforward. All you do is peel off the backing to the multi-purpose adhesive sheet and then place one on top of the other. You can then add the sentiment to that front centre panel, the one that you embossed. I've already prepared my little butterfly and coloured him using the same Stampin' Blends markers. I've added tiny pieces of dimensional onto each wing, and then I've bent the wings back and added a little wet glue to the centre of the body. And I'm just going to finish him off by adding a rhinestone to the centre of his body. Now don't forget to also add the dot over the eye. I didn't layer 4 of them for this. I think I only did 2 or 3. And then this can be added to the centre of your card. I've added dimensionals to my oval panel, and I'm going to position this onto the front of the card. You just want to make sure that you don't add the dimensionals where they're going to show when the card is open. You see the panel overhangs on the top and bottom right hand side slightly, so make sure you haven't got dimensionals behind those areas. You stack the butterflies in the same way that you did the sentiment. So make sure you've got the set of butterflies without the multi-purpose adhesive sheet on the bottom, and then all the others are stacked on top. Now for these, I find it easier to start with the largest butterfly first. So I line up the body and then the wings, and then I do the 4 butterflies at the top and the bottom. And you'll find that each layer that you put on goes on easier as the stack becomes more stable. Once you finish stacking all the layers, you want to use your scissors and separate each of the butterflies. Just carefully cut between them as best that you can. Now, I decided I wanted my smaller butterflies to stand out a little more from the designer series paper, and to do this I backed them with white. Now this is very simple to do. I just took some scrap Whisper White cardstock and then I drew around each of the butterflies, just roughly. And then I cut out the shape, but I cut well inside the line. And again, it was just rough, there was no precision at all. Then you just want to check that the shape is okay and it's not too big. You don't want any of the white showing outside the edges. And then when you're happy, you can glue it onto the back of your butterfly. Once you've done all 3 butterflies, you can glue them into position. I didn't back the larger butterfly because it sits on the white panel. So all I did was add wet glue to the reverse and then put it in position. And finally, I'm going to decorate the bodies of the butterflies using a few of our basic rhinestones. And there we have it. The card's now complete. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.